Okay, and we're on the air.
They are
Welcome
on the air.
everybody to Level-Headed Marketing's presentation today. This is Gabriela Sanino, my lovely sidekick, and I'm the butt ugly one on the left. So I'm told. Anyway, we're going to discuss some things that are going on today. That you know, one of the things that we were talking about as we were getting ready to start this off was what is happening in the industry, all the changes that are going on every day. Good Lord, there's plenty of changes. When you work with Google, if you don't like the way they're handling things right now, wait 15 minutes, it'll change. But, where do we go for the information? Where do we look to stay up to date? And, everybody has their favorite blogs, news sites, circles they hang in. And some of them are very valid. Some of them, unfortunately, may be invalid for the less indoctrinated, especially for the noobs, the new site owners out there, and businessmen that are just getting involved in trying to SEO their business's site. Sometimes we fall prey, and I know I say this because I did myself years ago. We fall prey to bad information. We latch onto a site because this guy is prominent. He's well known. He's named everywhere. He's quoted right and left. So he must know what he's talking about. Well, you know what? Barack Obama's quoted a lot too. Let's not jump to conclusions.
Hey, now, I thought we weren't going to get into politics.
I could take shots at Barack Obama, okay? Because he's not going to recant anything. So.
Right, right.
Anyway, with that's the topic for today, and I think we both have one we've zeroed in on, but I think sure we also have a couple that we'd like to bring up. So now I turn it over to my lovely sidekick, Gabriela Sanino, to wow you with her awesomeness.
Grazie, amore. Thank you very, very much, Doc. One of the things that Doc and I have been discussing lately is content. Reading content, how do you share content, where do you find the latest content? There's just, you're being bombarded all day with content, content, content. Now, some of you might or might not know that I curate Scoop It. And so the other day I was doing my hourly curation, if you will, and I came upon an article. And so within the spirit of sharing, I decided to share it with Doc. And not for any other reason than it kind of just, gave me a moment to pause. It's a great article. And we're going to share it with you, obviously. But I wanted to kind of give you a little background story. When it comes to sharing content, whether you're doing it for a campaign, whether you're doing it as a guest, whether you're doing it within your own network, there's always a strategy. There's always an end result, or there should be. If you haven't planned on one, then you should rethink your strategy. But anyway, so we've come to trust and believe that various brands that we follow, whether it's a podcast, whether it's a hangout, whether it's a blog, they have certain standards. And so the reason I'm giving you this background is because this is a well-known site. And it kind of took me by surprise because I happen to know the writer, whom I respect. We've had a couple of really nice conversations. I've never met him personally. I'd love to next time I'm in Milan, perché sono italiana, but that has nothing to do with again, this topic. So make a long story short, the understanding that we have a certain trust with certain publications and certain brands, whether it's SEO Moz, whether it's Moz, whether it's Search Engine Land, whether it's Search Engine Watch, we understand that things are shared on those platforms without ulterior motives. I don't mean to say that in such a, ulterior motives, like it's something bad, but just that I don't expect someone to plug in their own network, their own services. And so when this happened, I took a moment to pause and I shared it with Dot, and we both kind of, we're a little surprised, and we're like, do you see what I see? Is this connecting? I've never seen it before, and so it did take me by surprise, and so we decided, hey, look, maybe other people haven't noticed, but there's certain standards that we've come to expect, maybe, and maybe that's wrong. I don't know, because evolution and things are changing, and they never stay the same, and maybe this is something that is part of their branding, part of their message, but it took me by surprise. The article is tips for social media search optimization. Now's the time to start. And are we going to be able to put that link in our? I guess I could put it in the video. Yeah. Dot.
I'm sorry, I was muted and forgot to reactivate on mic. I said, I'm wondering if you got the right title. Actually,
did I get the wrong title? Did I read the wrong thing? It's being found part of your social media strategy. You're absolutely right. Completely different.
Yeah, it was an article on Search Engine Land by Sean Carlos,
right?
Who is a prominent, successful, and very knowledgeable fellow that has a considerable amount of following. And yeah, I was blown away. I mean, if you remember my response, it was three initials started with W and ended in F. I couldn't believe that A, the Search Engine Land would allow that, B, that Sean would do that. He's not the kind of guy. I cannot believe that he tried to slip it past them. So I'm assuming there had to have been an agreement that he could link out to his own promotional stuff.
But let's just also make sure that it's understood that we've never seen this before. It's not that we're pointing something out or maybe it's been happening and I just never knew about it. But I've never seen it, and I read them regularly.
I read them. I read a lot of publications every day, and I have not seen this on a prominent, reputable publication in a long time. And that's not to say that I consider Search Engine Land less reputable for allowing this.
So what do you think's going on?
Oh. I have to imagine that, like I said, Sean wouldn't try to sneak this past somebody.
Right.
So I have to imagine it must have been blessed from the beginning. And, of course, and I believe, you pointed out to me that Sean is heading up the SMX project over there.
Exactly.
So, he's got an important function with them. So, maybe he deserves a little bit of extra consideration. I have no problem with that. At the bottom end of the page, it's Search Engine Land belongs to them, not me. They can certainly decide how they want to do it. My concern is that when I go to any publication that is considered a news publication, like I think it's fair to say that Search Engine Land is considered news, that I expect impartiality. Right. And anytime the editorial content reflects a sectarian interest, the credibility of the publication and the author are called into question. And frankly, and this is me talking, I don't see this reflecting poorly on Sean, because I've followed him long enough to believe that, this was something he was perfectly legitimate and authorized to do.
Right. Oh yeah.
So I have to wonder, what were they thinking? What were they possibly thinking to say that, okay, we're going to allow an author to plug his own services in an article on our supposedly impartial news publication.
Right. So how do you think other people are going to react to this? I mean, are people going to say, yeah, so what, big deal? I'm kind of curious. I'm kind of curious if anybody's noticed. I mean, the post was what, how old is it?
It's just yesterday.
I haven't seen any comments, but it's had over 400 tweets. It's been shared. Um,
Yeah, there's no comments as yet. The
right,
reality of it is it'll probably go unnoticed by the majority of the readers.
right,
And I think that in all probability of the people that notice it, there's going to be some that are simply search engine land fanboys that won't think anything of it. And there will be some that know and respect Sean and won't think anything of it for that reason.
yeah.
You know,
And again, as a matter of fact, I just congratulated Sean on LinkedIn when I found out he was, heading SMX in Milan.
yeah.
So we both, again, I want to make it real clear in case, Sean, you see this. Ti giuro. Sei grande, sei grandissimo. I think it's wonderful what you're
No,
doing.
and for my
No
part, this
question.
isn't a slam either. This is just a question mark in my mind. What
Exactly. We're
has
both
journalism
curious.
changed? Because I'm sorry, Search Engine Land to me is a journalism site. It is not an SEO site. It happens to focus a lot on a lot of SEO news and
Sure.
occurrences, but it's not an SEO site.
Right.
It's a site that's owned and managed, edited by a pretty good journalist that focuses in our industry, and I consider it a good source of current information. Now, I always kind of have to check the links in an article more carefully every time I look at it because now I've got to wonder: am I hearing an objective opinion or am I hearing a plug for this author's services?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
You got to wonder what were they thinking.
Right. Right. But I mean, maybe they're evolving into I don't know. Maybe.
Maybe things are evolving. And that's not an improbable situation,
Right.
Gabrielle. Things are evolving, and talk to anybody that's in the print news industry, and they'll certainly tell you
Right.
that maybe journalism no longer needs to be that impartial.
Well, I mean, when you think about it, the power of journalism now is in everyone's hands. When you
Yeah,
consider,
exactly.
I mean, if we want to talk generalities, let's take anything that anyone does. Look at all the kids that are coming up with amazing apps or cute songs or dog tricks or whatever. I mean, we now have the ability to become superstars overnight, which is wonderful. What's unfortunate is that the transparency when it comes to certain standards. And I think that's where, or I should say that's why, I love what I do because, it doesn't matter how the business model changes. I still run by, the basics, respect and trust yourself enough to, be honest with your clients, be honest with your readers, transparency in as much as, hey, we're selling Amazon books here. This is a plug for it. You can get it at $19.99 rather than $26.99. I'm there.
And that's fine. Yeah,
Exactly. I'm there.
that's open disclosure. There's nothing wrong with that.
I'm there. And I think that's the question. And so, Sean, I don't know if you do see this video. Both Doc and I are kind of curious, and you could just tell us, hey, look, it's none of your business the relationship I have with.
Well, in the defense of the article, Sean didn't exactly slide this stuff in like a clandestine plug either. I mean, he said, as your reviewers draft your social media strategy and process, don't forget to include these aspects and reach out.
Right.
That's not it's not a blatant disclosure, but it's also certainly not underhanded. It's just
It's
it's
an
not so
awesome
much this article. In my mind, it's not so much this article as it is simply it raises a question in my mind: is journalism, online journalism, changing? You know, is the face of journalism taking on a whole new light now?
Well, I mean, think about it, Doc. It's an awesome. I mean, who wouldn't mind being given the key to the kingdom? Think about it.
Well,
If you
that's
have the opportunity to write on search engine land and put in a plug for yourself, hello.
sure, yeah, and
Hello. It's like having Oprah, promote you, especially if you're part of, this particular industry.
well, now
So,
let me expand on that a little bit, though. Yes, it would certainly. I'd love it. You bet. And I'm sure there's a few million other uh, site owners out there that would love to have that. To proffer their services to the public, which is the problem. There will be abuse.
yeah.
The editorial control, the moderation needs to tighten up to encompass that and control it. And pretty soon, it kind of goes full circle. It'll get to the point where the editor just decides, you know what, this just isn't worth putting up with anymore. No more links, or no more links to your own site. It would go full circle, I think. And I worked for years as an editor in offline print. That's where it goes.
Hey,
You allow things until they get to be abused, and then you just allow them across the board because it's just no longer worth the extra effort.
well, in closing, and I don't know if it's part of the closing, but if you do go and read the article, the first sentence tells you exactly what the message is about. Successful communication is all about getting the right message in front of the right people at the right time.
The mantra of content strategy, you bet.
Hello, and I mean, what a great way to start the post. So again, it's an awesome post. We're going to include the link, but we just are curious to when this changed. I wasn't sent a memo on it. I mean, I don't know about you, but
Yeah,
at least, hey, look, this is an editorial, by Sean Carlos, and whatever legalese they put at the bottom of those, none of his opinions are, blah, blah, blah.
I suspect that this had to have been in the open. Both parties were aware of it because,
Of course.
like I say, Sean's not the kind of guy that would try to slip something past anybody, and I can't imagine that Danny's crew is going to let something like it by them that easily. So that I have to believe there's an agreement. Now, I would say this, and I'll speak on your behalf too. I think that we would welcome uh, Danny et al. and Sean Carlos. Yeah, if they want to respond to us, if they want to respond to us on air or privately, and we'll be glad to share it.
Hey, are we using our tag?
You know what?
LHM20.
I dropped the ball.
Yeah, you did. But, that's why I'm here. Your sidekick, right?
Somebody has to have a memory, right? Yeah, LHM2013, Level-Headed Marketing 2013. That is our hashtag. So, if you'd like to respond to us, if you'd like to jump into another hangout, if you'd like to just send us an email and tell us to get bent, we would understand, and we would certainly be willing to give you your 2 cents worth. I don't think, we're not trying to jump to conclusions here. We're simply raising a question. This just seems new and different and odd, and I have to ask the question, why? Is this now okay? And maybe it is. Maybe it's a part of the natural evolution of online journalism. I don't know. But I thought it was worth discussing because it's different enough, and it happened to be tied. If it had been tied to an article written by some clown that nobody knew or everybody had pretty much discounted years ago, it would be different. But Sean's different. He deserves the credibility he's gained over the years.
Absolutely.
And I think that Search Engine Land deserves some credibility too because they are a source of current information for a lot of readers.
Well, and just to throw in some numbers here, because again, I want the listeners to really to make it clear, we're not jumping on a let's whip search engine land around, but when you look at the numbers, meaning 22.5 million people are using social media, and they're connecting with brands. 17.8 millions are strongly influenced in their purchasing decision. And it's up from 19. So, 15.1 million referred to social media before making purchasing decisions. So, I'm not saying don't promote respectable companies that you want to partner with, that you want to be, in bed with, that you want to, but, the Nixon days are over. Let's just put it out in the open, and just, make the readers aware that, hey, he's offering a great service, but I do want you guys to know that the FTC needs to know, and everybody else needs to know that we all play by the rules.
That's a very valid point. It's not the questions that are raised by Dr. Gabriella that really matter at the end of the day. Is this considered disclosure under the new FTC guidelines? And the new FTC guidelines are pretty damn stringent.
Yeah.
And this is not. This is not the publisher gaining any financial gain by this link. So I think, a good defense could be made that it's not an issue. However, it's just, it could put you under a microscope you don't want to be under.
Right. Right.
And, I think the new guidelines are crap, but they are the guidelines. So, the FTC, as I'm finding out with the new clients, they're not regulated by, they're not ruled by any laws. They make up their own rules, kind of like the IRS. They make up rules and get to enforce them as laws. And there's no review, there's no oversight, there's no control. So if they decide that you can be slapped on the wrist for doing something, that's what happens. If they decide you could be slammed in jail for doing something, that's what happens.
Right.
So, it kind of behooves all of us to kind of tread on thin ice, be very careful how we act. And this is an area that I don't see it as on the risky side, but it does open up the possibility for scrutiny that I wouldn't enjoy.
Well, I guess there is always disclosure. I'm looking at their site, and I'm looking to see where they do have a disclosure.
They don't. But they don't. They don't on this page. I'm looking at it too.
I'm looking at Search Engine Land Library. They're legal.
If it's on their legal page, the FTC will not deem it applicable. It has to be on the applicable page. And there's nothing here other than their standard opinions expressed or those of the guest author, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, really? Okay.
And that will not protect you against any prosecution by them.
Right.
But, again,
Well,
the problem is, like I said,
hey, look, maybe we haven't scrutinized everyone. Maybe there are other publishers that are doing this. Maybe
I have no doubt.
Maybe the
and I'm sure that some of them are even worse, more blatant.
Yeah. Right. So, okay, well, so we'll see. I think it's worth opening the discussion. We'll try to publish this hopefully this week, and try to get the conversation going. And if we need to have another Google Hangout, I think I can speak for Doc, but we can jump on and set something up.
Absolutely.
If we have a couple of people that have some input or comments or questions.
Well, I would certainly invite some discussion with not only with Danny and Sean, but any other a publisher, site owner of a major online news site, and there's several out there that might might fall into the same situation. Maybe they got a different take on it. Maybe I'm not no spring chicken here. Maybe my point of view is a bit dated, but I was a journalist for many years before I got online, so my viewpoint probably is somewhat slanted. Maybe there's a new viewpoint that is more applicable.
Right. Right. That's,
Anyway, a good discussion, and I think it's one worthy of some follow-up.
right.
I'd at least enjoy some clarification, and I'm sure that some of our listeners would too.
So again, the tag is going to be LHM 2013. We're going to go ahead and post this discussion, like I said, this week, and hopefully we can get a conversation going about it. If you want to reach us, Doc, you want to give the listeners our Facebook, Twitter, any of that? Do you have any of that ready, or am I throwing you under the bus?
You threw me
Not
under the
something
bus.
I want to do, but
You threw me under the bus, but paybacks are hell, right?
this is why I love you, my friend. This
But
is why I love you.
No, I came ill prepared. I'm ashamed to say, and after me beating you up all week about being prepared, see how I am?
See, it happens. Alzheimer's is your friend.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that reminder. I'm getting ready to turn 61 here, if I make it.
If you make it, I'm sure you will. But Level-Headed Marketing, we're on Facebook, Level-Headed Marketing. That's our Facebook page. Our Twitter, do you have our Twitter?
I do
Is it
not.
LHM or?
I do not, but you know what? When I put this up on YouTube, I will make sure all those links are there.
Okay, send them to me and I'll add them to our ending credits. And anyway, thanks for listening, and hope to see a bunch of questions, responses, and so on and so forth.
Thanks, everybody, for listening. Tune in next time for more fun and frolic with Level-Headed Marketing.